Change lives.
Cambiar vidas.
Change lives.
Change organizations.
改
变世界.
Change organization.
Change the world.
Thank you all for being here. This is really a wonderful occasion, one of the highlights of our school year as we gather to celebrate the Distinguished Teaching Award. You know, as I traveled around the country talking to alumni, inevitably the conversation comes back to reminiscing about days at the GSB, and I'm increasingly struck by how often that conversation goes to recollections of specific courses and, more importantly, specific professors who people decades later recognize as having had a huge impact on their lives and actually having changed the course of their careers. And you know, people can actually think back to specific classes and can chart for you how those classes and how those professors impacted their careers. And so it's really fantastic that we have this opportunity today to recognize one specific individual who stands out among the MBA class. But as we do it, I encourage each of you to cast your mind over your experiences at the GSB and to ask yourselves which among the various professors you've had will be the ones that will stand out for you and who, you know, decades from now, you will think back on as people who've had a significant impact on your lives. This is a very coveted and meaningful award to the faculty. Faculty are very cognizant of it, pay a lot of attention to it, precisely because the bar for the very best teaching at the GSB is at such a high level. Our faculty are dedicated to our joint mission of educating change agents who will make a difference in the world and bring enormous innovation and energy to those roles. And it's really great to have the opportunity to recognize all of that here today. So unlike performance art, where the art mainly occurs in front of the audience, great teaching is a collaborative effort between professor and students. And so the very best teaching takes place because of the very best engagement of an extraordinary student body in that experience. And so while we recognize great teaching today, I also want to recognize the engagement of all of the students in the educational experience and your contribution to what makes great teaching at the GSB. So I congratulate today's winner, but I also congratulate all of the faculty who put their hearts into teaching and the students who meet them in that challenge, and to the staff, especially in the MBA program, who go above and beyond to make sure that the educational experience is what it is. And so with that, it's my pleasure to hand things over to Wayne.
How has the GSB transformed you? This was a question asked at the small group dinner I had a few weeks ago. When the question was asked, there was no protest, no pause, no consternation. It felt like a completely natural question to ask. We'd all been transformed. Though not always conscious of it, we became better people for having come here. In the bustle of business school, we not only lose track of how we've been transformed, we sometimes lose track of the many great individuals who've helped transform us. It is for this specific purpose that the Distinguished Teaching Award was created in 1982. Today, we celebrate its 30th anniversary. Every year, a student committee is nominated by the student body to oversee the Distinguished Teaching Award process. The committee studies the quality of student nominations, assesses course evaluations, contributions to curriculum, and other relevant factors to select one professor or instructor who has contributed the most to student transformation through teaching. This year's committee is composed of MBA 1 Sofia Elizondo, Blake Nesbitt, Temi Olatunde, and MBA 2's Shannon Peloquin, and myself, Wainwright Yu.
You can hold your clapping for the winner. The winner of this year's Distinguished Teaching Award was selected from over 200 nominations across 46 professors and instructors from the GSB. The winner possesses an uncanny ability to make what is to a number of students a difficult and sometimes abstract topic actually quite engaging and interesting. Here are excerpts from what some of his students had to say. I took his class nearly 2 years ago, and it is still one of the most memorable academic experiences I've had at the GSB. His enthusiasm comes through in his class, which results in lectures that are engaging and interesting for a topic that is not typically the most inspiring. Another one. Very few people have the ability to engage an audience of 70+ MBA students at 8 a.m. That's hard. His enthusiasm for the material was infectious. And he did it all with a level of energy and humor that kept students at the edge of their seats. For example, he would ask, "Do you prefer schnitzel today or schnitzel tomorrow?" as a way of explaining an important class concept. His quotes were even inspiring enough to become slogans for an entire section of last year's GSB Olympics. As one such saying goes, "Cash is more important than your mother."
But a mesmerizing classroom experience alone is not what makes a transformative teacher. This year's award winner stood out from among the many, many great teachers at the GSB through his unique ability to create valuable learning experiences for students of diverse skill backgrounds. He has demonstrated talent in bringing his material in a compelling way to students who've never seen it before and to students who have years of academic and industry experience in the field. Here's what his more experienced students had to say. I studied this material at Wharton, and as an undergraduate, took courses from many different faculty members who were supposed to be among the best. Based on these comparisons, I can say that he really is outstanding. I already had a pretty extensive background coming to the GSB, but his class still taught me an incredible amount while keeping me engaged and entertained throughout the quarter. I emailed him with several relatively obscure questions regarding topics that were only slightly related to our class materials. He wrote lengthy and detailed replies back and forth to several questions of this type and really helped me understand the issues I was looking into. Here's what his less experienced students had to say. His ability to explain complicated theories in plain English and bridge the gap between theory and practice was unlike anyone I've ever seen. He is able to explain cutting-edge theories and practice in a crystal clear manner to even laymen. He makes the material accessible to those who are not as savvy, yet he's still able to manage with people who have many years of experience. He showed a unique ability to both address the detailed questions of experienced classmates while also teaching the content in a way that was helpful to students who had never worked in the field.
Teaching an MBA classroom can present many challenges. Some students are distracted, some find it hard to keep up with such many new material, some others may tune out thinking they know it all. But this year's Distinguished Teaching Award winner overcame all of these challenges at once and consistently throughout the many years he has been at the GSB. So on behalf of the selection committee and of the entire student body, it is with great honor and pride that we announce the recipient of this year's Distinguished Teaching Award, Professor Dirk Genter. Congrats.
Fantastic. All right, thank you very much. This award is a tremendous honor, and I'm truly grateful for it. At the same time, it is really quite humbling when you think about all the tremendous teachers we have here at the GSB. And it's even more humbling when you look at the long and really illustrious list of previous winners of the MBA Teaching Award. I mean, just in the last 3 or 4 years, we had Carol Robin, Ilya Strabolaev, Garth Saloner, and it really is humbling to add your own name to that list. At the same time, I think all of you who've seen me in the classroom would agree that I have an awful lot to learn before I reach the level of impact those other guys have in the classroom and really on students' lives. And frankly, the comparison with last year's winner, Carol Robin, in many ways couldn't be more stark. I mean, Carol is physically clearly, accent-wise clearly, but also substantively. I mean, Carol is a tremendous teacher who turns you both into better business people and better human beings. I, on the other hand, do my very best to try to get you to sell your mothers for more cash flow. And honestly, it is interesting that you give awards to both approaches to teaching. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say a very special thank you to 2 colleagues of mine, Professors Peter Damaso and Paul Pfleiderer, who did pretty much all the heavy lifting in the creation of managerial finance. And I had the pleasure and honor of co-teaching with the 2 of them 3 or 4 years ago. Thank you, guys. 3 or 4 years ago, and I learned a tremendous amount from them. I'm especially grateful to them for no longer teaching managerial finance, because that gives me a chance to shine in the classroom and to actually win a teaching award. Now, in many ways, this award isn't so much a testament to my abilities as a teacher as a testament really to your level of quality as students. Because frankly, in most schools, anybody teaching a class like managerial finance would be tarred and feathered and wouldn't be winning any awards. And this is a class that's covering a lot of very technical material at a very, very high pace. It's taught at 8 in the morning on Mondays and 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, which genuinely doesn't help. It is asking you to work incredibly hard, and that kind of class in almost any place is a guarantee of miserable teaching ratings. In fact, the dirty little secret of high teaching ratings in pretty much any school is to teach less, to teach slowly, to make it really, really easy, and to pander as hard as you can to the students. Now, here at the GSB, the rules truly are different. And honestly, I think everyone else on this faculty here is grateful to you for that, because the rules are different because of you. And I'd like to urge you to keep it that way. Keep challenging yourself, keep challenging us, and keep demanding that we challenge you in the classroom. Now, those of you who've had me in the classroom know that I have a mild tendency to run over time. So let me try to not do that today. Let me instead conclude by reminding you that the most important thing in the world is personal happiness, or your mother, or your dog, or whatever you want it to be. However, the second most important thing in the world is free cash flow. And if you don't watch your free cash flow very carefully at any point in time, both your mother and I will be deeply disappointed. So, watch your free cash flow. Thank you very much once again, and enjoy the goodies over in the courtyard. Thank you so much.
Change lives.
Cambiar vidas.
Change lives.
Change organizations.
改变世界。
Change organizations.
Change organizations.
Change the world.